Let's record a podcast, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 267 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, JR. I'm my co-host with me, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hi.
What do you, there it is. I don't know.
It's been a while.
Joining us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Technically it has, because, anyways, joining us this week in the most impromptu episode in not in history,
No.
but one of, it's up there, is our pal Vella.
Hi.
Our pal Ryan Vella,
How's it
who
going?
is a dear friend of the show,
I'm back.
who happened to be around, and when we hijacked his day.
Yep.
So, there it is.
Or maybe I hijacked the podcast.
Oh, no. He planned it all along.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He's sly like that.
Yeah, I was watching out the window and when I saw your car pull up, I was like, oh.
It's time to take it. It's like, this podcast is mine.
Carpe diem, right?
At first
seize
he
the day.
realized,
Seize the day.
oh, maybe that's Alex's girlfriend, but then he laughed real hard because that's not possible.
Hey, same. Well,
Well,
Jokes. Hey, let's talk about comic books. We haven't had a comic book talk in a
we
while.
go from, I don't have girlfriend. Okay, let's get down to the serious stuff. Let's talk about comic books.
Super serious. The most serious. Like costing people their jobs serious.
Well, yeah, it's like when comic books get serious. Because normally comic books are, there's that whole argument, I read comics for escape.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the arguments, too. In one of the topics we're going to be discussing. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Comic
We've
books.
touched on it in the past a lot. And if you've ever hung out with your friends and had geek talk, there's a good chance you've come up with what comics are. Because everyone can do could Batman beat Spider-Man in a fight? Yeah, probably, depending who's writing Batman.
Yo, someone I work with brought up really. I'm hijacking for 2 seconds.
Okay.
Someone at work brought up a really interesting one of those, and I don't know if it's been discussed in the past, but I was having trouble answering it.
Okay.
Although the answer might be a little obvious, but it was who would win in a fight,
Yeah.
and it was Dr. Manhattan
Uh-huh.
or Professor X. And I was like, I've never thought of that. Because initially you just think Dr. Manhattan just blows everything up.
Right.
You just wave of the hand, poof.
But
your guts.
maybe Chuck's brain powers could make him not do that.
Exactly.
But does Manhattan's brain work like any other person's
Exactly. Yeah,
brain?
right. Is it still a human brain? Although in the comic he's like a nervous system. Remember at that one point?
Yeah.
He's like, ah.
Well, who's put himself back together?
Yeah.
He still has
As you
people
do,
parts,
can Charles, tap into things that aren't human brains? Can he, does he have control over any, cognition or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else we were going to talk about is gone.
Let's just spend the whole
So
episode.
Charles Xavier versus Dr. Manhattan. Anyways, comic books. But yes, we've all had those talks of who would win. We base the Flash questions on it. Who would win in a fight, this or that.
We've also done a lot of value. Do you read them for entertainment, or do you read them, or do you buy them to put in a box and never look at because it's an investment?
Well, I look at them once and then I never look at them.
But I don't know how often we get into. That was my comparison between Marvel and DC, because with DC's characters, it's a lot more escapism. Because I compare it to you got Superman, who's basically all powerful and can never be beat. He can fly, he's super strong, he doesn't get hurt, he's impervious, he has laser vision. He's everything.
Even when you kill him, he's still there.
And he could fly through space and let's take it down a notch. We go to Batman. Well, he's a billionaire Olympian. So he's perfect in all ways. And he's a detective and he's brilliant, he's a genius, he can figure everything out. And then, people love Superman. He's beloved by everyone ever, except for Lex Luthor, he's right, to be honest. But then we go to Marvel, and everyone hates the mutants, those filthy muties. And you got J. Jonah Jameson, who's Spider-Man's a menace. And a lot of Marvel's characters are more hated by more people. Not really hated, but misunderstood, or there's more questions in there. So there's more of a moral tale to tell. But at the same time, people are reading about this awkward teenager who doesn't fit in, who's having changes and he can't tell people about them. And you've got a race of people who are being singled out and subjected for being different, and people hate them just because they're different. So there's a lot more things that you could identify with. And like, how well can you identify with DC characters? Like, no one can identify with Batman, but at the same time,
well, there might be that one billionaire detective Olympian
there's a good maybe that one guy. But at the same time, there's some people who do read who want to experience like this unnatural life of someone who's kind of like them. But at the same time, if your life really sucks and you want to escape it, you want to fly through space like Silver Surfer, and you want to punch bad guys and not get hurt like Superman, if you could deal with your bullies that way, like watching classic Christopher Reeves, deal with drunk jerks at a bar stop or whatever, it's like, yeah, I wish. Just, and you make that escapist kind of personality. So both sides have its pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it gets too real, though, for some people, apparently.
Yeah. Which one are we going to start with?
I don't even know. They're both awful.
Let's start with Captain America.
Right.
It was revealed what was going to be happening to him.
Even before the issue came out.
Yeah.
Like, it got leaked.
Yeah, and people were furious about it because it was released that Captain America has been Hydra all along. He's always been evil, filthy Nazi Hydra.
That is quite the heel turn.
right?
If anything, it is the heel turn.
Yeah.
This man is America personified.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's a Nazi.
Wow, we can finally get a glimpse of what it'd be like if John Cena turned heel.
Exactly.
Oh, pretty
exactly.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, but if people didn't love it,
right?
Because like Stone Cold go out there and start being Stone Cold, and people think it's great.
Yeah.
And The Rock can hit Mick Foley in the head 18 times with a chair while he's handcuffed. It was 11 actually, and people were like,
"Oh, only 11."
And people are like, "Yeah, Rock, what do you? Okay, yeah, I trust you, Rock. What are you doing?"
Right.
But it's like, if this would be, I can't imagine what John Cena would have to do.
I don't know.
You'd have to go Nazi, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he'd just come on the mic and say "Hail Hydra,"
Hell Hydra.
And keep for the record, we're talking about Captain America being a part of Hydra.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily Nazi. It's like essentially the comic book equivalent of Nazi.
There's been a lot of like angrily debated comments about that. Because it started off as like Baron Strucker based Hydra on the Nazi Party.
Right.
And Red Skull is a full-blown Nazi. But then it's like Baron Zemo, not quite. And then it's like sometimes they're just more about gaining power and creating technology to beat everyone else and fight S.H.I.E.L.D. And like not every sect of Hydra is Nazi. Hashtag not all Hydra.
But they're still awful.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Hydra is bad.
Yeah.
And to learn that a good guy who's been good for 80 years he's been bad all along. Especially like the baddest of the bad. Like it's, I can't even make a comparison. It's just like if Captain America went Hydra. That's like the only comparison.
Like people still dig Thanos, and Thanos wanted to wipe out a third of the universe.
He did for like a split second.
He definitely did.
For like a hot second. Like,
and he still wants to.
Yeah.
It's like,
he killed a lot of people.
Why make it a third? Let's go for half.
He went Patrick Bateman on it. Just so like he could impress the woman he had a crush on.
Yeah.
That is doing the most.
That's why he hates Deadpool so much.
Why is that?
Because Death is totally into Deadpool.
Oh. Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm not going to let you die because I like you. And Thanos is like, what the?
I killed a third of everyone.
He's flipping tables in the background.
By the way, go read Infinity Gauntlet. Make sure you read, in my opinion, the superior quest for the gems. I love that story.
Huh. Okay.
Have you ever read it? Like when he
I haven't.
Thanos is flying around in his chair.
That one I haven't.
And he's getting all the Infinity Gems.
I think I own it, but I haven't read it yet.
It's a trade. Like Justin lent it to me years ago.
I have it when it was still 2 issues, I think.
I love that story.
You think they're going to base Infinity War or whatever off that, the Avengers?
I mean,
or throw something
he did say he'll do it himself. at the end of
and then he put on a glove.
one of the special scenes.
And they've been revealing,
different gems here.
yeah, different gems and blah, blah, blah.
You didn't see Doctor Strange yet, right?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watched it with my wife a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I dug it.
Yo, spoiler alert. The Eye of Agamotto, it's one of the gems.
So is the red mist stuff from Thor 2, apparently.
You didn't catch on to that? That had to be said somewhere else off screen in an interview somewhere. Like, it wasn't obvious in the movie at all.
Obviously, the Loki's staff has the whatever gem,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one from they just kind of shoved it down your throat in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Here is this gem. It is very powerful.
That was no secret.
Gem.
It's almost like it has infinite power in this gem.
But yeah, so how do they explain, like, one thing with this I don't understand is it's like, okay, he's been bad all along. He's just been like, yeah, I'm just going to do all this great stuff this whole entire time.
Yep. So
Just to keep up the ruse.
that's part of the thing that people have been arguing over, and that's what they were flipping out before the issue came out.
And this is like almost a year ago, right?
Has it been that long?
When
That sounds about right.
like that first issue came out, and
Yeah.
it was the big reveal on the last
He's
page.
on the plane or whatever, and he's like,
He like throws the guy off or whatever.
The
and
doctor who could do...
Yeah.
Hail Hydra.
Right.
Let's see when
The-
that came out.
The reasoning is that Red Skull, still alive, still around. He still has the Cosmic Cube, or like a fraction of it. I didn't really follow what happened to the cube. So a bunch of stuff happened, because like Thunderbolts had a part of the cube too, I guess. Winter Soldier. But I don't really pay attention to that because the art's bad in Thunderbolts.
Have
But
you
like,
had, sorry to derail, but have you had that discussion too? Like, what comics, like, the stories might be great, or it might be something that leads into something great, but you don't read it because the art is bad. Like,
it hasn't been like a straight up topic,
no.
but we have talked about like if it affects whether or not you buy a book or not.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you skip following the story that way to just catch up on the wiki article instead?
Right.
Came out last May. Just about a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And also sometimes they'll swap artists every other issue, and like, will that affect how often you buy the issue? It's like, I want my full run of Green Lantern, but like Ethan Van Sciver might only do every other issue because he does really detailed work, and it takes him a long time to get through, so they fill in between.
But it's
like,
so good when he's on it.
It is. But it's like, do you want the fill-in artist sometimes? I mean, not disparaging anyone who's working on it recently, but that's a thing that happens in comics sometimes. They just have to they throw someone else in, either like for 3 pages or an entire issue. It rotates in and out.
Because I know it's definitely been, for me, it's like, there's definitely been times when I look at the art and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to check this out because this art is interesting. I like it and I want to check it out. But where, on the flip, like, if I like the art, the writer, or I think the writing is good, like, even if the art's bad, I'll still probably read it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But Red Skull used the Cosmic Cube because he couldn't figure out how to like keep beating Captain America. He just can't be beat. He just kind of gave up, and he's like, what if Cap was on our side from the beginning? And so like it started doing flashbacks to like a Hydra operative like inducting Steve's parents. It's like his parents becoming Hydra, and then him being raised as Hydra. And that's where it started a year ago. So they've been building up to this. So Secret Empire just came out. And that's like Steve being in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. and basically like taking over the world and being like, nope, Hail Hydra, we're in charge. And like orchestrating these amazing events to split up all the heroes and have them be easily beat, so then he wouldn't be opposed. And so a lot of people hate it because he's the symbol of America, to realize that he's Hydra. And for a lot of people, that means he's a Nazi. And the argument to be made is that it's... I'm trying to figure
disrespectful.
out the term. It's too close to what's happening in the real world right now, not to get political.
Yeah.
But the arguments that I hear is that we kind of need this symbol right now in our escapism, in our fantasy. We need like our American hero. We should have that. And they're making it into the thing we're kind of dealing with, and we don't want to deal with that. Right. Meanwhile, I'm like looking at the story, and I'm like, well, Cap's not actually Hydra. Red Skull made him Hydra, so it's not his fault. And this is all like looking at it in the story itself, you know? Because in my thought process, like, what's happening to our government, our world right now, isn't going to go away in 5 issues or whenever the arc wraps up. We're going to deal with this for a long time. And so if they've took like a year to go from Cap being Hydra to like Cap doing something about it, the arc is going to go for maybe another year or, you know, a while. It's going to be it's a thought out thing. They're going to take a lot of time to do this. So maybe Cap will come back at the time we really need him most. Because, like, you can't destroy a hero without giving him his comeback, you know? Like, Batman has to come back from Bane breaking his back. And Superman has to somehow come back from being killed by Doomsday. Right. So, like, you might hate that they've been broken down and they've been broken or this thing has happened to them. But it'll be really cool when they overcome that and they became who they've always been, and that's who you always wanted them to be. So I'm looking forward to when that happens, because, like, there's other things going on where maybe, you know, it's unfortunate that people think that, like, this form of entertainment, it's what's going to save them right now.
Yeah.
And it's not the simple answer. Because I'm not going to be the guy to say, like, well, it's just a story.
Right.
I mean, you know, we're sitting in a room with easily 6,000 comic books.
And pictures and art. And
yeah.
Not just the books.
And so, you know, to a lot of people, it's inspirational. It means a lot to them. And, you know, they feel betrayed. So.
I'm trying to think of any comics that I've read that have, like, made me, like, something happened and it, I'm trying to think if I've ever gotten angry at a book to the point where it made me want to stop reading it because of that anger, and, like, it whether it was, like, disagreeing with, like, a personal value that I had or if it was just a stupid story arc. But typically, because, like, I've had books like Chew, like issue 30, the famed issue 30 that John Layman hinted at for years coming up to it. Like, that was a holy shit moment. Like, one of the like top 5, like, oh my god. Like, I remember reading that because I was so excited for that issue. I was reading it in my car on my lunch break at work because I ran to Matt's to go get it. And, like, it was like, holy shit. But, like, it wasn't because, like, a major thing happened. A favorite character in the series got brutally messed up. But, like, I don't know, I couldn't wait for the next issue. You know, it's like, what's going to happen next? Yeah. And in a book like that, in an indie book, like, they're gone. It's not like, you know, Superman, oh, he's dead. Is he dead? No one's dead.
There's no White Lantern in that universe.
Yeah.
Well, it's also I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's a quote or something. I'm trying to think of it, but it's, yeah. Well, like, when a character dies, you want to make it matter. Like, you don't just want to kill off a character. You know, I mean, and obviously that exception goes out of the door in, like, superhero comics. That run on for years and years and years and have these established fan bases. But when you're telling a contained story like that, where, like, what Chew was going to be is 60 issues, right? He's, like, done. It's not going to go.
Yep.
Like, so it's like, okay, to have that has to matter. That has to mean something. So, because you're not expanding it forever.
And, like, work goes into developing the character. You know, even if that character's only developed for 20 issues. Like, when did she show up?
I can't remember when she first showed up.
We just said we gave a hint as to the gender of the character.
Huh? I mean,
did we say who it was? We didn't say who.
We didn't say who.
But, you know, that character's only been developed for 20-ish maybe issues, and, like, the creative team had that long to make the character endearing to you, you know, and give you a reason to like them, so you felt something when they died. Cap's been around for 80 years
in the manner, especially in and shoot, like I'm a little biased because I love that book, but like flipping that page to like that fucked me up for like the rest of my day because like that was a harsh image. And like the worst hadn't even happened yet.
I remember actually tearing up during Why the Last Man because I
haven't read it.
Like,
hold on, what are we talking about? I've only read the first like 3 trades.
Okay, well, there's a part that happens later on with something where I like teared up.
It's heavy,
and it's like I didn't expect to tear up at that, but
my time hop just showed me when our friend Colin finished The Sword.
Oh yeah.
I've never finished that. I should probably do that.
Did you start it? You read The Sword?
I've read like the first couple of issues.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing.
Yeah,
I remember
it's right over
seeing
there.
it. I think at the store I used to go to, like when I play Magic a lot. Like he used to carry comics when he was trying to kind of establish. Now it's just like Magic cards and board games. So that's really what he sells. The comics thing never normally bought him, but yeah, he got a couple issues in, and I started reading it there. But I just never finished.
It escalated.
Does it?
And like Jared was saying, like, has a book ever affected you? Like that's one. When people ask me, like, what's the saddest book you've ever read? Like, what book like affected you? I'm like, The Sword got me. Like I had to like put it down and just kind of like sit there by myself for a while.
Process.
Now, yeah, like a minute wouldn't do it. I kind of like had to like look out the window and be somber. Like there's superficial things, like you were saying. Like has a book like made you either like want to quit it or if it affected you somehow? Like really stupid kind of like they put the Joker's daughter in Suicide Squad. I hate the Joker's daughter. I'm gonna quit reading Suicide Squad. Yeah. So something like that, I've done. I can't think of an example of like something that really gets to me. Like if you give me a week to try and like look through, but
sure you come up with something.
Oh yeah.
But like to the point where, like, I mean, Nick Spencer was getting pretty thrashed on the internet.
Well, yeah, let's do that now. Because I was talking about like the in character universe and what that means to people, and we haven't gotten to like the creative side of it yet. So Nick Spencer's the writer who's been on Captain America for a year, and now Secret Empire.
Also having written Morning Glories, writing Morning Glories, right?
Yeah,
still coming out, yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I've read from him. I know he's done a lot of other stuff. Hold on, Wikipedia.
We've talked about Morning Glories at length in the past. And we hope to someday have on... I have the artist's
Joe
card.
Yzma?
Joe... Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
His card's behind me somewhere. I was looking for it. So now, it's not just people like hate Captain America because he's Hydra. And it's not like people hate... No one's hated on the Red Skull yet for using the Cosmic Cube to turn him into Hydra.
He wrote a lot of Avengers.
But like fans are... death threatening Nick Spencer for doing this to their favorite American icon.
I feel like something similar happened to what was it? Dan Slott who wrote Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
when Doc Ock overtook.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep. But Dan Slott has a lot of other things going on too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Dan Slott and Bleeding Cool have like a very combative relationship because Bleeding Cool will post spoilers. And Dan hates that.
Oh yeah, he's ripped.
And he's like, anytime anyone spoils stuff, he's like, 20 people didn't work for 6 months so that the thing we created that a fan's going to experience gets spoiled for them within 5 seconds on the internet. Like, that's not why we do what we do. Can you please not? Can you not? Right. Can you stop? And they're like, well, we're doing news stuff. We're news reporting what's happening. And he's like, no, you're not. You're just ruining shit. But yeah, Doc Ock was Spider-Man for 2 years? 20 issues? Yeah, 2 years.
It was a good run.
We didn't have a Peter Parker as Spider-Man. It was one of his biggest enemies.
And you're a big fan of Superior Spider-Man.
I sure was. I still am.
Big fan.
I dig Doc Ock's Superior Spider-Man. Dig it. I just had, who was that? Chris Campana last year at Massive drew me a sketch cover of the Doc Ock Spider-Man.
It's literally right there.
Right over, we could see it.
But like
Nick Spencer.
I mean, you've read a lot of Spider-Man. I'm assuming you've read Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Know one of the best Spider-Man stories.
Hey, but hang on, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
I'm not the regular fan.
Okay.
I'm not like an ordinary fan. My license plate says villain. I really dig the Thunderbolts because they start off as bad guys. They're villains who like were going to masquerade as heroes. And some of them, sometimes they were like, you know what, we're still going to do villain stuff after this, right? And some other members were like, how about we actually be heroes? But we're villains. And they're like, well, if Zemo leaves, we'll just get Hawkeye to run the team. It's like Hawkeye, who was a villain turned hero. So I'm really into bad guys.
That actually sounds like a really cool play off each other, because you've got some people who actually want to start being heroes.
Yeah.
No, we're villains.
And so, like, you never knew if Moonstone was, like, actually on board or if she was just, like, biding her time until she could, like, take over and do something terrible. And some people were just, like, too dumb to make a choice. And some people were, like... And there was a lot of, like, decent character dynamics throughout the team. Because, like, Abner Jenkins, who was Mach 5, or the Beetle, the original Beetle... He had a lot of, like, in-between. And Songbird eventually made a solid choice. But the Fixer, you never know what the Fixer was up to, because he was more on Baron Zemo's side. I really liked it. It was like... Because Jared was looking through some back issues that I ordered to try and fill in my collection. And he's like, this art is way different from what came out, like, in the past couple of years with Red Hulk on the team and everything. And I was like, yeah, it's comic booky. That's what I liked about it.
Even the team itself was a lot different. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But
I'll have to check that out.
So the Doc Ock Spider-Man I was into because I like seeing the bad guy get a chance to do good because he still thinks like a bad guy. So he's not going to think like a hero. Maybe he'll make some sacrifices or he'll bend the law because he's used to breaking the law. So like maybe he'll do a better job of it, but not be as responsible.
On the flip side of that, I really like stories where you have a bad guy and you get a glimpse into their past or whatever, and they weren't a bad guy. Like you get to see like what makes them bad guys. I think that's kind of cool. Instead of just being like, "Hey, yeah, I'm a bad guy because I'm do bad things."
Prime example is Killing Joke. Like you get that it was like one of the first origins that they ever tried to tell of the Joker, you know, and you see like how he got his start, like trying to raise a family, you know, provide for his baby and his wife or his pregnant wife. Or did they already have the baby? I can't remember.
I don't recall.
It's literally right behind me.
It's signed too.
It's somewhere over there. But
top shelf, yeah. Anyway,
you get to see like, you know, he wasn't always just a terrible, terrible, ruthless maniac.
Yeah.
You know? At least that's one interpretation of it.
But then at the end of the book, he tries to do everything he can to break into the character and make that character be as bad as he is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
I'm not going to say if it worked or not. But.
Read The Killing Joke.
Is Nick Spencer still getting hate mail? Like,
I mean, Nick Spencer, he spends his day, like, it's like drinks his morning coffee and then engages with the trolls. You know, it's like he's one of those people who has no problem engaging. He has no problem voicing, like, telling someone, like, no, you are wrong and here is why.
Jared's good at Twitter. I don't know Twitter, so Jared's been watching this happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow him on my personal account. I do follow him with like the OMV page. So every now and then I'll see some, and then like Bleeding Cool likes to post about it too. Bleeding Cool likes to roast Nick Spencer a little bit. Not like roast, but they'll post up like, "Oh, here's the latest."
Here's what, yeah.
And it's just Nick Spencer going back and forth with just like sometimes random people just defending his point. You know, he's a very vocal person. You know, might not agree with everything, might not agree with a lot of things he says, but you know, I got to give him credit for like standing up for what he believes in. You know, like,
is he too vocal?
A lot of people say that he is.
Okay.
You know, I'm evading and dodging, and I'm being very non-committal. Personally, I prefer when people just kind of let their work speak for themselves, speak for itself, whatever you want to say. Like, I don't know. And Dan Slott did it a lot too with Spear Spider-Man. Like, he engages a lot with people to be like, no, just wait. Just wait. Here's, you know, like...
Yeah. In 17 days, you get a new issue.
Yeah,
so you can...
yeah. Just give it a sec.
there's a plan. There's a story. That's
yeah,
going on.
yeah. It's not going to end tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's, you know... From what you've gleaned, like, is Nick good at explaining his reasoning? Is it?
To me, and it's tough because I get it in snippets.
Yeah.
I don't typically see the whole thing, but every now and then he comes off as very, this is my side is correct, your side is wrong.
Okay.
I don't care what you're going to say
I'm not
because
really listening
mine
to you
is
because-
correct.
Yeah.
You know, it comes off a little, not dismissive, I don't know the word,
Okay.
but it's kind of, that's the vibe I get from it.
Mhm.
So it does turn me off a little bit, like, and he's been accused of, you know, like incorporating like, you know, liberal agenda like in his books and all that stuff. He's, you know, he definitely leans hardcore left, which fine by me. But
So, like you were saying, you would rather, you know, creators like let their work speak for itself. If someone starts inserting, because a lot of things other people are complaining about in Marvel, in some of DC, is that like the creators are putting their political views into the books.
yeah,
And it's like, how about you just write a story? It's like, maybe that's the story. Like, this story might get boring if it's like, well, Luthor tries to stop Superman again. It's like, well, how is he trying to stop him? You know, what's the reasoning behind that? Like, because if you don't give some kind of like real world bent to their mannerisms and their reasoning, then why are they doing it? Because that's hopefully at some point making them a little more identifiable.
Yeah.
If he's not your neighbor, then maybe he's your angry grandfather.
But also, it's like it's a tenet of like writing. That's one of the things they drill into you when you talk about writing. Is like, even if when you're playing a character and like acting or like writing a character, is like, okay, a character has wants and needs. They have an objective.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if a character is objective is defeat Superman, it's like, well, why? Like, that's not really a good objective. You know what I mean, that's boring. Because then like the whole arc of a character is what are they doing to get what they want? Like, what is their objective and what are they doing to fulfill that need or whatever. So
Luthor loves humans, the human race, because Superman's he's a filthy alien. You shouldn't be here,
right?
And he's always like decrying, like he shouldn't be this powerful just because he's strong. Like, he should obey all the same rules as the rest of us. And he's being treated unfairly because he's letting a lot of things slide. Maybe Luthor's a little xenophobic, but you know, if he has to create his own superhero team and then kill all of them to prove a point. So Captain America.
yeah,
Let us know what you think.
okay,
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, right? That's,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
okay, that's YouTube.
Press that like button. But
So
yeah,
I definitely understand other people's views where it's like, we kind of need him to be Captain America right now.
Yeah.
but it's been a year, you know.
A guy we haven't had on the show yet, but I want to have on eventually. He's local. His name is Mark LaPierre. He has an Instagram called Marktoons, Mark with a C. And the other week he did a sketch of Jack Kirby like rolling up his sleeve and like, they did what to Cap? Like, I'm like, I like it.
But now I'll transition this, but there's a difference between like taking a character and changing that, and then like shoehorning like beliefs into into your like picture, like images, because like this is playing out in like a story kind of a thing, whereas when you're putting like imagery into the X-Men Gold book, right? That's the other topic we're gonna touch on.
Yeah.
With this. Like, what's the difference there?
I see them finding a new way to tell a story with Captain America.
Yeah.
Because you can only be like, well, Red Skull shows up and has a plan and Cap has to stop him. Zemo shows up and has a plan and Cap has to stop him. Strucker shows up and has a plan. And so at some point, like, that's a boring story. How often can you just have Captain America throws a shield and stops a bad guy. Yay, we win. There's your 6 issues. It's like, you know, at some point, it's just the same thing.
When you said that, I just imagined Captain America as Dragon Ball Z. It's like the first issue, he's like getting ready to throw the shield.
he's charging up his shield.
Next
Seriously.
time on Captain America Z.
Adam Manta Wakanda Hameha. You're welcome. It's not Wakai, it's Vibranium. Damn it.
Oh.
I'll get it better next time.
In the movies, it's a mix of it, isn't it?
In the movie, it's only Vibranium.
Oh, okay.
Because they can't say Adamantium because that's owned by Fox.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Who is making 3 X universe movies this year or something, or in 2018?
Who? I don't even know.
It might have been on Bleeding Cool or something. I saw it's like they're going to do X-Men: Rise of the Phoenix or something. They're going to do the Deadpool 2, where Cable's going to be involved.
Possibly different X universes because Apocalypse put Logan in a different timeline.
Yeah.
So,
Love it.
There's the storyline version. So I could see, like, if it wasn't done for a good reason, Jack Kirby being furious. Because, like, what did you do to what I made, 60 years ago? But on the same note, I kind of love when that happens because Rob Liefeld was pissed when they made Shatterstar gay. Or kind of bi. Shatterstar was like, whatever, I find attractive because I was bred to be a fighting person, not really bred to know what gender is.
Right.
And so, like, Rob Liefeld was absolutely furious that they changed Shatterstar, the character who he kind of, like, farted out in the 90s somewhere and gave swords to. And drew some pouches on him, I guess. But, like, the character was developed that way. A writer thought about it and decided this is what the change is going to be. Because why? He's bred for fighting, and maybe he doesn't...
It's not just like, oh, he's bisexual because haha. Like,
yeah. It's not like this will really piss off Rob. No, it's like if he was engineered to fight, then exactly why would he have a definition of what gender he's attracted to? It's just like when people are like, look, I guess you could take credit for Deadpool, but it wasn't you that made him interested. Deadpool wasn't interesting until other people got their hands on it. To be honest. Yeah, so I feel like that's the differences between, like, changing a character, expressing something for story's sake or other reasons.
Yeah.
There's a guy who worked for Image. He did a book called Black Flag, unrelated to the band Black Flag.
Okay. Because that's my first thought. Was like, oh. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
He had a weird name, but, like, within the issue, he would slam Jim Lee constantly. Within, like, background art or, like, put something, like, on a newspaper in the background of, like, how's it feel to steal from your friends, Jim Lee? And it's like, what the hell is going on? I can't think of that guy's name. But, so next
Dan Fraga.
Fraga Boom was, like, his imprint. He does, like, a storyboards for like a sitcom now or something. He does storyboards he does art for someone else. He doesn't do comics anymore. Yeah, but Dan Fraga would constantly, like, just rip Jim Lee within the art and his issues while working for Image, who Jim Lee partially founded with 6 other guys. So, I don't know if that was a joke or if he was always serious about that.
You would think, like, unless they were just like, unless they really didn't care, you think they would be like, well, fired.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure if I went into my job and just started shit talking to my boss or something, you'd be like, well, bye.
Well, they're also creator-owned issues.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
like as long as you go in and, like, believe you put up the front money to get it printed, and then, it's yours.
Yeah.
So they could decide whether or not they want to keep printing it.
Right.
But
what other terrible things are happening in comics?
So Ryan brought up our next one. X-Men Gold came out.
Yep.
They decided to start more X-Men books.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have X-Men Gold. Well, I kind of dig it because I liked the Gold team and Blue team and Red team for a while.
I just, like, as someone who really likes X-Men, and I don't have the time or the money to buy every... I guess I should just pick one, like, team with most of my favorite members and stick, but...
The X-Men Blue book, that has the young X-Men from a different timeline in it.
Yeah.
They're still kicking around?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
That's from Avengers vs. X-Men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Huh.
So if you want to read about them,
yeah.
And not get them into your other X books, you could go buy Blue. And then Gold has more of, like, the classic characters, or a few of them at least. So, like, Nightcrawler, Colossus in there, Storm, and Kitty Pryde. They shoved Old Man Logan in there, who's from a future timeline.
I dig that book a lot.
Yeah.
The original or, like, the new...
Well, there's the original, and now there's a new Old Man Logan book. where like it's the same old ass Logan, but he gets like launched forward in time, and it's like, oh my god, or like launched backward. I don't even know the timeline anymore.
So Old Man Logan is in Marvel's current timeline.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
and he's trying to prevent the wastelands from happening.
That's how they're like, hey, look Wolverine's still here, even though we killed him.
Yeah, we killed him, and he's encased in adamantium over there. Oops, spoilers. But like, so here's him still.
What's kind of neat is that they've addressed a few things already, because like even X-23 is like, you're not the real Logan, and he's like, I know, I guess.
Well, it's like in his timeline he is like, I am the real Logan, but
because he also has like a sense of what's happened, so he's like also going to look out for Laura, even though she's like, get away from me.
They're doing a in the book currently, like the issue just came out this past week.
Yeah,
it reminds me and they've done it so many times in the past, but I'm being a bad person and I'm totally digging it right now because I've knocked it in the past, where like he gets sent back in time too far.
Oh yeah,
and then he starts lurching forward in time, like different points of his like, oh my god, oh hey, it's it's me, oh man, I'm in a tank, what's happening? Oh right, I'm turning into Wolverine, Weapon X, and then like in the most recent one, he like launches forward and he finds himself in like the yellow costume, and it's Hulk fighting Wendigo.
Yeah,
and he's just like, I need to get out of here now, and like he just keeps launching forward, and like the covers have like him in like a newer outfit every time. Like the first one had like the Cat Wolverine.
Yeah. That sounds kind of fun.
I really like Old Man Logan.
I know we've talked about it between Batman and Cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think it was a few months ago, but
because the return of Bruce Wayne, I hated. I didn't get it. I mean, Grant Morrison. I was very new to comics at that point, so I guess I don't think it's really fair to introduce.
I would like to see the classic stories with current art.
Yeah. Like in the same issue, he's just like, he launches forward again. He's like, oh God, I remember this. And like, you see Jean is like Phoenix, and he's like, this is when we lost her, like 100%. She's gone. Like, and like for a hot second, he's in Japan, and like he sees Mako. What's her name? Mariko. Yeah. And like he just walks up to her and like gives her like a really long kiss, and he's like, I can't stay here, and like he just bails. Like he just needed to get that one.
His life is so painful.
Yep, it really is. But like I really and like the main artist, like I was because we got comics a couple months ago, and I was like, oh my, there's a new artist, and I was like, God damn it, I hate when they switch artists. But I actually really dug him, and I'm a terrible person. I don't know who the artist. I don't know who either of the original artists or the new one is. But Old Man Logan is a dope book. I like that book. You should read it. And just I don't even know why I started reading it. I just out of nowhere
because you like the last Old Man Logan so much.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And I'm reading more and more Thor. And let's go. So inserting political images.
So Ardian Saif, I think I got that right.
Probably
I may have messed it up. He decided he was going to put some statements into the new X-Men book. Which there's some names that I don't really follow that easily, but I looked him up and like Ardian's done a lot of work.
I recall seeing him on at least a handful of the books that I've read, like back when because I think we said he was on Blackest Night,
and
Some Brightest Day,
he did some Blackest Night stuff,
not
like the main title, but like some of the offshoots.
I read all of them.
Batgirl for a while. So like he's no stranger to,
the industry,
doing his job and following a script. And drawing pictures, and making things. Unless no one has really picked up on it in the past.
I mean, with this now, there has to have been people who combed through his past work to try and...
True. But if you haven't heard, he put some of his political ideas into the X-Men book. There was a verse from the Quran, or referenced, because the X-Men play baseball. At
superheroes playing baseball? What?
Oh my God.
They do this like every once in a while. Next up, we're going to see them playing poker with the Thing from Fantastic Four. That's the other thing they do together. But on Colossus's shirt, it says like QS, and I think it was like 515 or something like that, or 550. It was like referencing a specific verse out of the Quran. he's from Indonesia, and there's a lot of like political stuff going on over there. We're not really going to get into it right now, but like there's a lot of things that he felt were important that he had to. I don't know if I guess he was going to try and make a statement through the book, but he put like a certain number on a building because he was able to just draw that in. No one's really going to question it because like buildings have address numbers all the time. And so if this says 212, then no one's really going to follow that as referencing like an independence march that was held in Indonesia to, try and protest against their government and their ruler or whatever. And so people would like look at other things in there and be like, well, when you see Nightcrawler swing his bat and Kitty Pryde sitting on the bleachers, from the angle it looks like he's hitting Kitty Pryde and she's Jewish, and so that means this and this and this. And so everyone's like drawing a lot of ideas out of what they think he's trying to say or what he's trying to say through where he lives and what his history is and his government and everything. He's trying to make a statement. But like an X-Men book primarily printed in America, maybe that's not the right place for it.
Especially with people with like, did you see was it 4chan?
No.
Because Shia LaBeouf,
much as I can.
Shia LaBeouf had his political statement, and he had that webcam going,
the flag,
and he was flying that flag,
yeah,
and like it kept getting taken down, so he hid the flag, and there's just a webcam shining on showing the flag. It was a live stream, and the people on the internet monitored the airplanes flying overhead, cross-referenced that like the air traffic with a recent picture that Shia LaBeouf was tagged in on the internet and where that location
so they
was.
Figured out like what state and what town that might have been in.
Found the flag and replaced it with a "Make America Great Again" Trump hat within like days.
Yeah.
It's it's so like people finding this stuff like a really odd set of letters and numbers on Colossus's shirt, like pretty prominently displayed.
Yeah,
like people are gonna jump on that, like it's, and then everywhere else they're gonna start combing through everything, every page, like the baseball bat in front of Kitty Pryde's face. I would have never, ever been like, okay, I never would have thought of that, but when you think about it,
maybe.
But then again, that also could be massive, like
just speculation.
Just reaching.
You're
just
searching for something.
Yeah.
What could I possibly find? And
the word jewelry, it spells Jew in it, and it's kind of cut off.
Yeah, that was another one that they pointed out. But like all these happen within about 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah.
The rest of the book, I think, was clear of messages. So I don't know if he had like a really bad day when he was drawing those couple pages, or if he didn't have a chance to hide anything anywhere else. But some people, is this much different than when celebrities give their speech at award shows? Like I've done this thing, I have this microphone, and maybe it's time to say what I feel.
Right.
And what I feel might be wrong or what I feel should be correct.
Didn't Leo go into a big global warming thing when he won the Oscar?
Yeah.
Or it's like if you're like working at McDonald's or something small like that, and you're just like writing messages in the ketchup,
in the burgers,
like spelling stuff out. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, is this the right? I mean, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Is this the right forum for it? Is like using someone else's, like you're getting paid to draw this thing, and then you're hiding messages. Like if you create your own comic and get it out there, like, it's different.
Now let's just say the artist I can't pronounce his name. I'm not gonna. Ardian.
Yeah.
Let's say he, instead of putting it in the art in subtle references, subtle points, like just kind of here's a thing. Let's say he just comes out on Twitter and says it.
Right.
Does he also lose his job then? Probably.
Yeah, that's like it's up to the company and whether or not they want to be.
I think it depends on what the statement is. Because like we looked at it and I've seen a few different explanations of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it right now, but like some people have said it means one thing, and then other people said like, well, in a different version of translation, it means something kind of like this.
I checked 4 different websites before we started trying to get like what the actual like passage was, and they're all different.
Exactly.
So
I believe there's companies that will let you can have your own feelings on things and you could state them as long as they're not like hateful or threatening. Right. But at the same time, more people have been feeling threatened by more things more frequently. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people have to like really watch what they say before they cause an uproar of some kind and you're targeted as a hateful person. Mm-hmm. So maybe he could have said this on his blog or his Twitter, because he's a popular artist. I mean, he got the X-Men job. Yeah. He didn't come out of nowhere. Like he worked up through DC and Marvel to get put on a #1 X-Men book now. So his Twitter might not have seen as many eyes,
But I mean, to be fair, I would see one set of eyes, and then that set of eyes would pass it on, and then next thing you know, it's on Bleeding Cool and CBR and all that stuff. Like, Twitter isn't like even stuff that you say in the past. Mm-hmm. Like, the NFL draft is happening, like as we speak, and like minutes after the number 2 pick, Mitch Trubisky or whatever his name is, was picked, people were posting screenshots of his old Twitter, his old tweets saying like, I love kissing titties and like cheering on the Packers because he got drafted by the Bears. If you're the Bears and Packers, you don't. So like minutes later, people are already like, and the second Donald Trump says something, we have 30 tweets that say the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. Like people dig, and it's terrifying. Like just to see, like it makes you really like, yep. Maybe I should go back and take a look and see what I said.
What have I ever said
9 years ago when I was just a really stupid person with the internet? Like.
Well, I mean, I recently saw one of those clickbait article things like that was just like 10 wrestling superstars that like did porn or something, like before they were wrestlers or whatever, right. And it's like, so like you do something like, and then like. I don't know, you get popular, and it's like in the past. And
people are just dying to like, okay, how can I tear this down?
Yeah, they're gonna find it.
In Lita's book, she was talking about when she was getting hired by WWE, and Jim Ross was like doing some of the initial interviews and like the hiring stuff, and he was like, "You ever? How do I say this? You ever take your clothes off for money?" And she's like, am I not going to get hired if I answer this? And he was like, no, we just need to know because we're going to be painting your name on billboards and stuff. And so we need to have a fallback and just be aware of stuff. We just need to know. We don't have and she's like, yeah, I was a stripper for a while. He's like, okay, that's all. That's okay. And he's like, now we just have it. And so like, if something comes up or anyone says anything, we have a PR department that'll deal with it.
Right.
And, and that's the thing. Whereas like, it's like lawyers just like tell me everything that happened so I know how to fight it, or whatever. Because like, and at the same note, she's trying to figure out, is this going to ruin my career?
Right.
And it's like, they're putting women in Playboy. I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things. But it's funny to me. No, it's just funny to me to see these like little things that you might not think about when you're doing it, or you're doing it because I know a few months ago on this is another wrestling thing, and this might be just more prominent in like wrestling, but this is what I can think of at the moment, was someone posted like a video of Becky Lynch wrestling Finn Balor or whatever, and then someone in the comments was like, this is like a fetish video or whatever. Someone paid a custom, and someone's like, yeah, well, this other indie wrestler was like saying that you can make $5,000 in like a weekend doing like fetish stuff, where it's nothing like bad. Like it ranges all the way from like wrestling like bare feet or intergender wrestling or something, and then like to actually nudity. But it's just this little video, and like she did it probably for money when she was an indie wrestler, and Finn Balor too when he was an indie wrestler, because they need extra cash and not making a lot of money. And someone's like, hey, you want to come shoot this wrestling thing? And then it focuses on feet or focuses whatever. And they're like, yeah,
so like it wasn't just like an actual match, it was like a fetish thing,
right? Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what someone said in the comments.
It was like in someone's basement.
Yeah, it was like, or maybe it was in a ring somewhere, but I don't know, because by the time like I had seen the link, like the video had been removed. But
because like there's a lot of companies now that are doing like legit intergender matches,
right?
And like the guy's job is to sell just as much for a girl hitting him as a guy hitting him, because that's the job. And like the girls are getting in there getting slammed just as hard as the guys are, and so it's like So I was thinking like, oh, but that's happening a lot. These are just matches. But if it was like, a weird kind of like, you're going for a private viewer to record.
Yeah, or it's just like a certain aspect of it. But yeah, then someone posted a thing in the comments that was like, oh, I remember like Seth Rollins doing one of the, like a wrestling for this site, and it was primarily like dudes, like gay dudes. And then someone posted this GIF of this like shot, and it was like, oh my god, these are things that they, but it's like if you're making money. But now people are going back and finding it.
Yeah.
It's like, so you got to really be careful of what you're doing.
You got to sometimes you got to do what it takes to get the prize.
Yeah.
You got to risk it to get the biscuit, as I've heard Jimmy Fallon say.
It's true. I guarantee go back like old episodes even to the show.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find hundreds of contradictions, like hypocritical statements, like it's unbelievable that people are mad that Cap's Hydra. You'll probably find me saying like it's ridiculous if you make character changes that just stun the audience. It's stupid. It's going to happen. We've had 200.
You're like, it's stupid when you make.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like.
Well, that time I said how much I liked Rob Liefeld.
Hey, we gave him props.
Yeah, he deserved it for that.
He definitely did.
Yeah, that day.
Absolutely did. Yeah. So comic books.
And one of after all this is happening, and people were like, I don't know, I didn't hear any like real harsh vitriol being aimed at Ardian for saying what he was saying, because it's the internet. So like, I don't know what people send death threats for over.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
the slightest thing, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to rape your family. I'm going to kill you.
But one of the things he was trying to defend was like, well, all the issues have sold out now, so you're welcome, Marvel. I did you a favor. He was literally trying. He was trying to promote it as like, well, now it's a collector's item. Now you can buy as many issues as possible because it's rare and it's got this controversial thing in it now, and you're welcome. And it's like your career's done, dude.
He could have any salvage that was there.
yeah.
Any hope is just gone.
I guess technically, if you think about it, if you're like that you're done, just might as well be like, yeah, well. You're welcome.
I'm going to embrace this sinking ship.
He was trying to salvage it for a little bit and saying, well, that's not what that means. And like, this is just, that's not actually what you think it is. And like, no, it really is that. And he's like, all right, you're right. It is. But like, I feel like he jumped to, yeah, but you could make money off it before he did. I'm really sorry. They're
probably not the best.
Well, there's, as we've learned with, the media and everything, there's a process,
Mm-hmm.
You do something stupid. And then you say you're so sorry, and then you continue to say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then you make appearances on talk shows or whatever, and you say how so sorry you are, and you found whether you found God or you've been working with a life coach.
Jeremy Renner has to go on The View after saying Black Widow is a slut or something. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the nature of the internet.
Well, Renner also.
Yeah.
Did he not apologize?
He gave the non-apology, like because it was him and Chris Evans. Like that one said slut, the other said whore, and then Chris Evans being the literal personification of Captain America, came out with a heartfelt apology. It was inexcusable. So sorry, Chris Evans. I love you. Yeah. The entire world embraces him. And
then he helps Betty White up the steps at a award show.
Exactly. And then Renner comes out because Renner just kind of is Jeremy Renner and really doesn't give a shit about anything. Like I was talking about this with Colin because I watched Arrival last week with Colin, and like it's just like it just feels like he's just along for the ride, But like Renner comes out with the biggest non-apology ever, and he's just like, "I'm sorry, for insulting a fictional character." And I'm sorry that you got upset about it. I'm sorry I called something that doesn't even exist a whore. Like, and people were pissed. Like I get it. It's that's this day and age. You can't say stuff like that.
And it's because it travels so fast. You can you could be walking down the street and you're connected to the world via your phone. You're connected to the world via your phone. Yeah, so you literally find out within seconds. You tweet like. Hey, I don't like the color green. And people are like, what's wrong with the color green? Look at this guy.
1,000 people are now angry that you don't like green.
Yeah. It's quick. But yeah, you got to kind of, especially, because I mean, we all say stuff that's not right. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm not saying like everyone.
I never have. I'm a gem. I'm perfect.
Everyone's like not in the back room being like the worst person ever. Like, I hate these type of people because of this, and like meaning, but like
Kryptonians, I hate. They're so gross.
You make jokes, and it's just like, but when you are playing a character or something that's an inspiration, like I mentioned this with like professional like sports or League of Legends, like this one dude, the mid-season, I always bring it back to League of Legends. The mid-season invitational is happening right now, and there's a Brazilian guy, because it's being held in Brazil, who's like on a team that made some racial comments about the Japanese players that had come over to play, and he got a 4-game suspension. It's like, well, you're representing your team. Like, you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Overwatch guy?
No.
There's a pro Overwatch player, and they're like scrimming or whatever. And like he gets bonked by a Widowmaker.
Okay.
And immediately starts, like one of his teammates like recommends that he switch or something like that. Like very calmly, like, hey man, you should switch off.
Yeah.
And the guy just like, wow! And then for like 45 seconds straight, just repeatedly says the N-word over and over and over and over again. And like 45 seconds doesn't seem long, but if you like, we can sit here for a 45-second break and you can see how long that is.
Like a lawyer would do in a courtroom.
Exactly. Like just saying the N-word over repeatedly again and again and again and again and again and again. Like not letting anyone else speak. Just like, and he was promptly released because like it was recorded. Like he's gone. Like his Overwatch career, and he's like because pro players are so young. Can't remember how old he is. He's like in his early 20s. Have fun finding a new career, joining the rest of the workforce. Like.
Yeah, I mean that's like 45 seconds of saying that straight is a lot.
That's a long.
Yeah, because I mean I remember a couple years ago for like season 4 or whatever Worlds, like one of the players, he now plays in North America. They were practicing in Taiwan, and he made like some Taiwanese like jokes like in game and like said like ching chong ching ching like that type of stuff, and he got like suspended. He couldn't play in the games. And Worlds is like the biggest tournament of the year for League of Legends. That's where you make all your money, and like so he was like suspended from that. And I think he ended up like apologizing or whatever. He hasn't done anything. Like he's like a perfect player now. I haven't done anything like, and now he's still playing.
Rose O'Donnell got flamed for that too. Yeah. So
it's like as long as it's not super awful and you can apologize, but if you just kind of like, yeah, I did it. What? No, you're not getting work anymore. You're done.
So Ardian made his political statement by hiding messages in his comic book, but at the same time, way back in 2002, we had Ethan Van Sciver also doing X-Men. That was new, all new X-Men, I believe. Yeah. No.
All new X-Men's recent.
That was new X-Men.
Yeah.
Just new X-Men. And what I gleaned from that, because I had to look it up again to figure out what was going on. The entire creative team was in on the joke, because it was a joke for them. And they put the word sex hidden in every single page of the issue. It was number 118. You could look it up. There's some like pretty good like layouts of showing you where it is, or you could go find it yourself somewhere. But like there's a lot of reasoning behind it. I couldn't really infer if it was like they were mad at Marvel and were trying to just like mess up one of the books before they bail or something, or if there was any repercussions afterwards. I didn't really see any of that. But there's a few things of like, well, Emma Frost was having a lot of like trying to like send a message. It's like, was she affecting the book, or was she affecting creators, or was she affecting you by making you see sex on every page? But then it was also like, well, there's a guy named John Sublime, and like they're subliminally putting these words in. It's just a lot of like stuff like that. But so the most of the blame is on Ethan, but like the colorist had to color it right, and the inker had to ink it right for all these words to still come through and kind of be hidden. But right now, that was like oh, Ethan, you're mischief maker.
Classic. It's like the Disney stuff,
He's going to go on to draw Green Lantern and Superman, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep. Simba flops down. The dust spells sex.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Was it the priest from The Little Mermaid had an erection?
There was a building in the background that looked like a penis.
Yeah. On the cover of the VHS, it looked like it looked like a penis. That stuff's everywhere.
Yeah.
But
that's a little different than a political opinion, like being in the.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Especially
Is it hypocritical to be like, I think it's rad. Don't put your political opinions in books, but sex is funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I mean, it's still inappropriate, but like, you know, because kids are ultimately, you know, especially back in the, what was it, like early 2000s?
Yeah. Because like I don't think Ethan's career is put at risk in any way.
I never even knew about that until you told me. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
And like Ethan, like I have his work tattooed on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's one of my. I really dig his art. When I see like every other month when he's on Green Lanterns, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude! Like I'm a big fan of his art.
But at the same point, like Arden's like, "Yep, I just committed career suicide."
He did.
I mean, maybe he can do a creator-owned something.
I mean, you know, if he gives it enough time and he releases a heartfelt apology and makes the rounds on all the talk shows, and you know,
is there a point where like what you do is so good that everything else is forgiven? Like, you know, Johnny Football is real good football, so, you know, we'll just ignore all his steroids, or we'll ignore that he beats his whoever, because he's so football.
We did it for Michael Vick.
Yeah.
The dude, like, slaughtered pit bulls.
Yeah.
Like, ran a pit bull fighting
he's
ring.
He's on a team now, isn't he?
Nah, not anymore.
He
No?
was.
He was back up in Atlanta, but I think he retired. But, like, he had his career resurgence. He got his big contract again. He played with Philly. He was lights out for, like, a season and a half. And Michael Vick's great. Love him.
Yep.
And, like,
Well,
you know,
I
it's
mean,
like...
as long as he gave X percentage of contract dollars to animal foundations.
He did do a lot of, like, charity work after getting out of prison and stuff. Like, he did his time in prison. He went to jail. He did his time in jail. Like, it pretty much bankrupted him. Like, and then he was working a lot with, like, I think Tony Dungy was, like, his, like, life coach. And, like, he started giving back and doing speeches and stuff like that and, you know, like, helping out community, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he still fucking killed a lot of dogs, you know? So it's like, how long does it take for us to forget?
It's funny about stuff like that, too, because I don't watch football a lot. I mean, I go with my dad and stuff, like, and I follow it, like, here and there. But my team is the 49ers, and Colin Kaepernick can't find a team. Because he kneeled during the national anthem, and he gives back to charities. He works in,
a lot of money.
Neighborhoods. Like, people were like, "Well, if you're going to kneel during and say all this stuff, why don't you actually put your money where your mouth is?" And then he went out and did it, and then he went out and like started all these charity programs for impoverished youth in the inner city youth in the cities, and did all this stuff. He can't find a team. Dude slaughters dogs. They welcome him right back in.
Well, radio sports guy said it's because he wasn't that good of a player anyway. And he did kneeling things.
He only went to a Super Bowl, but...
Yeah, it was just to save his career and get noticed, so they couldn't fire him for being bad at sports. So, you know, it's just your way around it.
There are a lot worse sports players, and I'm not like supporting Colin Kaepernick. I'm not decrying Colin Kaepernick. Like, he's done really great things, like with a lot of the money and blah, but he's also said some really stupid shit.
Yes.
You know, like, but it is kind of sad that, like, you know, what was it, like Johnny Manziel's like hinting at like coming back and all that stuff, and like people are like, oh, we'll consider it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Kaepernick's like, can someone sign me? And they're like, nah, man.
Yeah.
I think Kaepernick, that's definitely a good comparison to Artie and Saif. Because Vic, that was a crime.
Yeah.
He committed a crime. Like putting your belief into, you know, I mean, like the company you worked for is going to be pretty pissed. But,
right. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe if they could like do an inspirational tour or something together.
I just want to read my funny books with the color pages.
I guess it really does just depend on what the statement was. Because if it was hateful, like if like, because people are saying that the Quran passage says something about like Jewish people and Christian people being enemies, and like if he's actually hitting her in the face with the bat because she's Jewish, if that's not inferred and is actually what he was going for, then there's a difference there. But if it's just someone expressing their political beliefs, then I guess it's just up to the company whether they're going to be like, yeah, they really want this, so bye.
I think it was Dan Slott who put a New York City tourist in a Stephen Colbert for President t-shirt. And no one really cared. They were like, yay, Stephen Colbert.
Yep. Comics. What came out this week? There's a good book that... Oh, it was the new Thor. Had
they're both on the cover.
Quentin Quire.
Oh, yeah. Kid Omega.
Just that one like small little thing of Quentin Quire. I was like, I need more Quentin Quire in my life because we've talked about it in the past. Like Adam Warrock had the song about him and stuff, and I know Colin was into him for a while. Fan. Yeah, but he was funny. Like he essentially is just like he was just bored. Anyways, not
the new X-Men that was written, or was it from that same one? Wasn't he in the new X-Men when they started doing the like Spark or whatever? What was her name? Oh my god, the one with the gauntlets that she shot lightning out of, and then they had like the healer guy.
That was a different.
There's new mutants,
so
right?
Quentin Quire showed up in the new X-Men book.
Okay.
And he was like a student at the Xavier school.
I guess we could talk about this.
You're talking about like Avengers Academy.
Yes. Is that what I'm talking?
I mean, like some of those members were also like on. I guess it was a new Gen X book.
I remember there was like I really liked it, and I think they ended up stopping it. But it was like there was a new mutants kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. I think Danny was the teacher at the time at Xavier's.
Danny.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny Moonstar.
Yeah. And
it might have been like a Generation X.
Yeah. It was cool. I really liked it. Because
Generation Hope came on the tails of that.
That was one of the guys.
There was a rock dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them because they split them into two teams too.
Yeah. And then that kind of discontinued. But yeah, anyways.
I remember Kid Omega being on the team.
Okay. I thought he was in those books.
He was a problem child.
Right.
He was a little jerk. Anyway.
Because that was the first time that they introduced Armor before Joss Whedon took her. And
really? She was in that first?
I believe she's not.
Before Astonishing?
Yeah. I don't think like they did anything. I think she was in the background. Like it was like she was in like one page or something. And they're like, oh, look, but it was like.
I like Armor.
Yeah. She's one of my favorite characters.
I wish she was like more of a new Wolverine sidekick. Because Wolverine, he had Kitty Pryde, then he had Jubilee. It was like Armor's filling in. Yep, this will be fun.
They did that. I have the first issue somewhere. I'm trying to find the trade of like Wolverine and her. They did like a 5-issue or 6-issue run.
Really?
Yeah. I forget what it's called, but yeah. Anyways,
Wolverine Armor.
Yeah.
Warmer.
Ooh, I like it.
If everyone was named after their powers, Rogue would be Suck and I'd be Claws. How about you pick a better name, kid? No, I'm Armor. Fine.
All right.
I'd be Claws.
I'm not gonna go into my Joss Whedon.
Let's transition because we're already 11 minutes over, and we haven't even we con Vella into coming on because he expressed some interest in a subject. He vented a little bit. Mm-hmm. He came in and he was like, you know what grinds my gears?
And we were like, let's talk about it.
We don't have to talk about it.
We're talking about it. I don't even give a shit.
All right, so you want me to introduce it?
It's my fucking show.
Sorry, I don't want to step on your toes.
No. I'm meaning that we can do whatever we want.
Right. Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, it's JR's show, I guess.
Mine is in like.
Yeah, you're just the co-host.
I was speaking for the both of us.
Oh, okay.
Right. So.
You know what grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears?
What is Nintendo doing?
They just released the Switch.
Yeah,
it's like the most popular console of all time, selling out everywhere.
Well,
they re-released the NES.
That's the end of it. This is episode 267.
So that means like if I make something and sell 2 of them and I sell out, then that's the best thing I've ever said. Right? Because like isn't that essentially what they did? Like they just didn't make a lot of Switches.
Oh, for the NES.
That too, but anything they make.
Well, they're still making the Switch,
right? But they
it's
didn't
not like they're out. Oh, they didn't make enough to fill demand,
right? And then it's like, oh well, we're selling it. It's super popular. I mean, yeah, it's popular because it's. I think it's a cool feature. Like, just hey, I want to play at home. Oh, hey, I'm gonna bring it with me. Oh, hey, we got 19 Joy-Cons. Let's set them all up outside and play.
And play on a 3-inch screen.
Yeah, or you can just take it wherever you want. But yeah, they did. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know how many they made for launch, but I felt like there was a lot of buzz around the Switch.
Yeah.
Like when they announced the Switch, I was like, this might actually be one of the first Nintendo consoles since like the Super Nintendo that I like actually try and get out and buy, like when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. It's the only console.
The Super Nintendo.
It's the only Nintendo console that I've actually ever bought. The rest of them were either gifts or my family owned it. You know. Mm-hmm. And it's also the first console I've ever had on day one release. It's the first, like, and initially I had a lot of hesitation because, like, I remember pre-ordering it on GameStop, and as soon as I clicked, like, submit, you can't change this. I was like, I should have done that. And I was like, I have 2 months to, like, make sure I have enough money. Like, and I had some regrets, but, like, ultimately I love the console, even though I only have the one game and I haven't played it in 2 weeks because I beat it. But new Mario Kart's out, so whatever.
I know they've also, like, the one thing that perked my interest is they announced a couple of, like, newer, like, RPGs for. I love RPGs, like JRPGs and stuff. So Persona 5 is so good, by the way. I'm just gonna say that. But
everyone's raving about Persona.
But yeah, so I know Square's working on something for it, like Project Octodad or something. I don't know, it's something like an Octo something. But yeah, so this week Nintendo just announced that they're going to be making a new 2DS XL. So now we can add that to the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the new 3DS XL, the 2DS, and now new 2DS.
Another 2D, and they're all the same console. They all play the same games.
The new 3DS and the new 2DS there's like 2 games that are exclusive for it. So, like, because it's got the new 3DS when they announced it, it had a little bit more power. It had a C-stick thing, so now you have dual analog sticks, which it didn't have. The original 3DS didn't have.
Is this how new is it? Like last Black Friday or
the new 3DS?
Yeah,
a couple years,
yeah. Because I was still in Fitchburg because I remember it came out right before Monster Hunter 4.
I got like whatever the newest model was for a niece for Christmas.
Okay, that was this past.
That
Christmas?
was the Black Friday one.
Okay, so that was probably just the new 3DS.
Okay, the XL.
Yeah, because it came out 2014 probably. I know it came out like right before Monster Hunter 4.
Yo, she's been stuck on the same Pokemon Sun trial for like months.
It's a tough game.
She's kind of given up on it.
It's a tough game.
I'm like, might have to start over, kiddo.
There were a couple times I got wrecked in that game.
Could she just grind? Like, go back and just...
If she's in a trial, can she do anything about that?
I can't remember. Yeah. I played through it. Like, while I love Pokemon Sun, it's probably the least played Pokemon game I've had in a while. Like, I beat the game, and I was kind of just like, okay, that's that.
I actually haven't picked up a Pokemon game in a long time. And I picked up Moon because I was like, everyone was playing it. And I was like, this actually looks like it's kind of fun, so I kind of want to play it.
So 2DS. I think we had Joe on.
We talked about the 2DS a long time ago.
Brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The piece of toast.
Yeah, it's just like a big
square.
I mean, a lot of people are saying like, oh, hey, yeah, it's like now I don't ever use my 3D feature, or it's nice, I would never use the 3D, and it's $150, I think is what it's going to retail for. But then someone was like, oh, I can buy a new 3DS bundle for $160, so you're really not saving much. I don't know. I know, like, when the new 3DS came out, it was like $279 or something, I think, or $300.
I got mine for $2.
Yeah.
Or I got my niece's for $2.
Yeah, so now it's down to like $200. But it's just, I'm like, why? Why are you releasing this? Just like, why did you put the Switch charge underneath the console? Like, so you can't, like, who is anyone testing this? Like, Nintendo just, like, lately, like, me and the other noobs have just been talking about, like, we just every so often, every couple weeks, Nintendo makes a decision, we're like, what? Because, like, they my friend Zach bought 2 controllers for Pokken Tournament, and you can't use, like, for some reason it won't recognize the other one, like, and it's not like that it's a brand new controller. It's just, it will only let you use one controller.
Maybe there'll be a software update next year.
Yeah, probably.
That's the beauty of
the Wii U's done anyway. So
it's for the Wii U.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But like,
so why can't you use 2? Why?
When you think about it, Nintendo has a history with stuff like that. Anyways, like, remember how many iterations of the Game Boy Advance there was?
Oh my, yeah.
There's like 30 of them.
GBA SP, the newer SP, but I guess
Micro or whatever. Like,
yeah. What I found out too recently is that on some of the 3DSs have like a worse screen than other ones. There's like a certain screen they put in some of them where it's like the color palette's a little like off. It's like I forgot what, I'd have to look it up because I remember we looked. It's like not as bright or the colors. So
I've been following a guy who's trying to make a smartwatch, and he's been like, it's been a really rough ride for him. and he has a supplier who's supposed to be sending him the glass watch faces, but he like wants a scratch proof resistant model, and like it's named like diamond something something, and it's like supposed to be resistant for I don't remember what they mean, but like 8,000 something. It's so resistant, and the guy was like, yeah, it's a diamond so and so 6,000 resist. He's like, 6,000 isn't the diamond model. 8,000 is the diamond model. And he's like, well, this is what we're calling it. And he's like, no, I need to have the best thing for my product, and you're giving me a thing but naming it where it's don't do that to me.
Right.
Yeah. So I wonder if they're just getting different suppliers for their screens. Or
yeah,
it's
it
they
might
can't mass produce the same thing.
Right. Yeah, I'd have to look it up, or someone can look it up. But yeah, it's like a certain model, and I guess how you can tell is if you flip it up or something, you can see
Yeah, but that screen might have been 5 cents cheaper to produce. So.
All I know is I checked mine and I have the good screen, so I'm cool. Yeah. But it's if you are I guess if you don't have a DS and you don't care about the 3D, and it's if the new 3DS is $50 more, I guess okay, and you don't want the piece of toast. Because now it's got the analog stick and the screen flips down and it's just as big as the 3DS.
So this new 2DS can flip.
Yes.
And close.
Yep.
That was kind of an important thing when the first 2DS came out.
People didn't like the.
Well, they can't just put it in their pocket.
Yeah.
That's the main thing for the 3DS with and it sucks because I'm a terrible 3DS person. I've owned I think a total of 4 games. And I actually just sold one on the internet. But Colin's texting me. But it's a loyal I'm just related to a dog. It's always there for me. Yeah. Mostly it shows. We go to PAX and I obviously I'm packing my 3DS.
Yeah. When I see the boys make eye contact and one with one hand you just hear click a click of the screen opening. It's they're about to play Smash or something.
Yep. Yeah. Or even just the stupid mini games and collecting puzzle pieces. It just popped the thing in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. Bam, it's right there.
I bring it if I'm going somewhere for more than a couple days, I'll usually pack it in my backpack. And it's sometimes I won't even touch it, but it's I gotta bring it.
You have it there
just in case. I might want to bring it up. But yeah, I have a little bit more games. I have probably 15.
Right.
I have all the Zeldas almost, and Fire Emblems and Monster Hunter and stuff like that. And I think
Bravely Default.
Yep. At one point, I had a 3DS and a Vita, but I just wasn't playing the Vita at all, so I sold it. But I love the 3DS. It's a great handheld. Nintendo's had a great grasp on the handheld market. Yeah. But it's just stop making all these
Why do we need the 2DS XL?
And
I mean, why couldn't they make that first? Why make the 2DS? Why couldn't you just made a 2DS that was like the 3DS, with the flip? Why make it?
Imagine asking parents for one of these. Because I asked for a He-Man figure when I was 5.
Which one?
I just wanted He-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they bought me Faker, who was the blue He-Man, who was a clone robot. I was like, why is He-Man blue? I don't know. I guess I have a He-Man toy now?
Yeah.
So it's asking for a Ninja Turtle and getting Baxter Stockman or some junk.
Right.
I don't want Baxter. I want
you
Raphael.
ask for Ninja Turtles, you get Street Sharks.
Hey, I love
Street Sharks, dude. Yeah. I say Jossum way too much, to people who would never.
Who was I with?
I don't know.
I was with Will or Brett. We were at a Target somewhere. We were with Will or Brett, and we saw parents and grandparents trying to do Christmas shopping with a list, and they were in an aisle looking at stuff, clueless. Because well, here's Spider-Man. It's no, they want a Spider-Man PS something, and we're that's a video game, not an action figure.
I know. I've dealt with many people will come in working at a bookstore. Yeah. People come in looking for Cards Against Humanity, which at the time was never sold in stores.
Yeah.
But at Barnes & Noble, we had Crabs Adjust Humidity. So we could say, no, we don't have Cards Against Humanity. They don't sell it in stores, but we do have this. Uh-huh. It's essentially the same thing. It's a shameless ripoff. And they say it right on the box. And they're like, oh, great. If it's essentially the same thing, I'll just get it for them. And that's a disappointed gift right there.
Next week?
Most likely.
I have to say, I've been surprised by Barnes & Noble's board game selection lately.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They're actually starting to really get in good ones.
I used to working the resets, and I used to get really excited because resets are tough. It's long work. You got to work overnight because you can't do it while you're still open. But the toys and games are one thing, but when we actually do the adult games and puzzles or the specialty hobby, I can't even. worked there 6 months ago. I can't remember what it's called.
Now they call it like just went the other day and it was like strategy games.
Yeah, the whole section is called SHC, Specialty Hobbies and Collectibles or something like that. But like I used to get pumped setting up the board game like rack. You know, it's a huge 4-sided rack, and I would get pumped to see what we have. Like you know, a Betrayal at House on the Hill. They got the expansion now.
Yep.
With like a lot of cool people wrote scenarios in the new expansion. Mikey Newman wrote one.
Nice.
Huh.
Max from Cards Against Humanity wrote one, I think.
Jerry. So they got like special people to do that.
Yeah, Jerry from Penny Arcade wrote one.
I'll have to pick that up at some point.
Yep.
We didn't get asked to write one?
Huh?
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
We didn't get what?
Asked to write one? The fuck?
Yeah, we didn't.
We
didn't. You know, it's surprising.
Nonsense.
As surprising it is, it is.
What are you going to sneak into it, though?
How much I hate scrolls.
But yeah, so Nintendo, I just like lately it's like what, and then you can't like transfer saves over with the Switch, right? It's like locked by system.
I have no idea.
I think your friend was over. Trish was talking about it.
Yeah,
about how she can't
because her Trish and boyfriends are like he has a Switch, so they're both playing on the Switch.
And she wants to get one.
So her game, if she gets her own Switch, nothing she's played on boyfriend's Switch, she can't just like enter in her name. Like if I go to your house and I'm going to play your PS4, I can log into my essential stuff when I log in with my email and my PSN name, and so I'll still have my stuff, but on your system. That won't work with the Switch.
Yeah, I think they're.
It might just be outside of the capabilities. I honestly don't know.
Well,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Also afraid of hacking and stuff.
Yeah, Nintendo's always been like even just in the online gaming. They took so long to get into it because they just want to police it so much with like staying family friendly and like you know it's. And it's always
I just remember like logging into the Wii, like creating the friend codes and like it's like you can't just like meet up. It was so hard.
It's great looking at my Wii U friends list because I have like 8 friends on my Wii U friends list and it's just a wasteland. Last logged in like over 6 months ago, like every single one of them. You know, like Colin and I played Smash Brothers like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that was the first time I touched my Wii U in like maybe a year.
I bought one in November because I really wanted to play Mario Kart, and then they announced like 2 weeks later that they were discontinuing it. But I played it for like a week, and then I really haven't. I have Mario Kart, Splatoon, and Smash, and I haven't really played it. But I also have way too many games to play right now. In addition to games that I can play anytime, like League of Legends and Final Fantasy.
Haven't seen you on Overwatch in ages.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Persona 5. Whenever I beat
my
PS4, it's Persona 5.
You see, they shut Diva off for a little while there. No. They shut her off from the game.
Really?
Because there was like a glitch with her, like something with her mech. But they like had to disable her in Overwatch for like a hot second.
Well, at least they can do that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
And now there's all the controversy with her new skin.
Sometimes Ryan watches me play Overwatch.
Yeah.
Little sometimes.
Yeah.
What's
maybe I'll play some.
Never mind.
It's like the police thing.
Oh, she's a cop or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it goes into a Blue Lives Matter, all that.
Oh.
It's great. You just can't fucking have anything anymore.
Is it the Uprising skin, or is it like one to come?
I don't know. I don't even know because I haven't seen it yet.
Riot's got like a bunch of police skins on there.
Yeah, it's
like for like all the Riot lines, like Riot Singed or Riot this champion.
Yeah.
Like police.
Yo, May's got a firefighter outfit. Why can't there be
exactly
a law enforcement?
Yo, what's the hardest difficulty you beat Uprising on?
I haven't played it yet.
I've beaten it once on hard, but I haven't tried to go past that.
I'm not trying to brag here.
Yeah.
But
I've been waiting to team up with my friends.
It's true.
I've been trying to stall until like I have buddies that are on that I know.
You got to get online. Probably I don't know about tonight, but like
either like there's one of my friends are on or 5 friends are on.
Exactly, and then you can't play because it's 4 players. But me, Zach, Colin, and Ken, we beat it on not legendary, but the one above hard.
Harder or something.
Whatever. Yeah. Challenging. I can't remember what it's called. But
what did you guys use?
We were. To be fair, we didn't do it with the 4.
Yeah. I've rarely played. I did that one like twice.
Yeah, because it's really like there's like strategies written out for like the main 4 to be like, here's how to beat it on legendary, and it's really really hard. But like we beat it on the second to hardest difficulty, and I use Orisa all the time in that because she's beast.
Yeah, the tank.
And like was Sharp. I think Sharps was soldier, I can't remember if Ken was Bastion or Diva, and then I think
A lot of players play Bastion.
yeah, he's very. And I just popped my shield on him the whole game, and then Colin was Mercy, I think. Anyways,
I just found out Slumber's really good in that.
is she?
Because her hack does damage to him. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's down to play,
You got to get on and give those loot boxes.
yeah, I know. But yeah, last thing about the Nintendo is the NES Classic. Again,
Right.
which already before it came out made me angry because you can literally go on your computer, download an NES emulator, and play the whole entire library if you have the backups, of course, of the actual game. But not condoning stealing. But you can literally play whatever NES game you want. And then they come out with the NES Classic that has HDMI, and like all of a sudden it's like you can play these 30 games that come preloaded, and it's $60, and everyone loses their crap. They only make like 3 of them, so they sell out within like a minute, and then they don't really restock it, and then they discontinue it.
In less than a year, right?
Yeah.
Man, if only
I
they
think they're
made
doing,
like
like,
6
one
instead
more-
of 3.
Yeah,
Would've-
right? I think they're like restocking it one more time, like I think it was like last week or this week,
Oh, yeah.
and I think that's it. And then there's rumors that they might do an NES Classic. And
SNES.
SNES Classic.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I meant to say. And it's like, what? Why? And why are people flipping out about
And
this?
the best part is the people who actually have it. It's like getting a pair of Yeezys. You know, like they're never going to use it because like the nostalgia lasts for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember someone came into possession of a disc for the GameCube that had like every regular Nintendo game loaded on it. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is great!" And then like 5 minutes later, I was like, "I'm over this,"
Yeah.
because like ultimately, it's like I'm gonna go play Overwatch.
Who wants to play Bubble Bobble?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, play for 5 minutes, and then you're like, okay.
Okay, that's Bubble Bobble.
Yeah.
You know, like, and now people are like posting pictures of it like in their rigs. You know, like, and it's like the cords aren't even attached to it. It's like you're never going to use. It's
the
a
original
status symbol.
Castlevania. Yeah, all right. So 5 minutes after
have
you're
fun.
done with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is fun to go back and play those games, but it's not like, I guess it's just something that's there. But another theory was part of the reason why they're just continuing it is because it got hacked instantly. Because obviously you connect it USB.
Isn't it just like a Raspberry Pi board or something like that?
Something like that. And you can like USB connect it. So someone hacked it and, put all the games on it. And it was like, oh God. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Damn it, Nintendo.
Nintendo, like they come out with these cool ideas and then they come out with these things where you're like, what? Like,
And I will always just blindly follow them because like they revolution. None of this shit would exist without Nintendo. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah,
I will. They've
That's-
earned the ultimate benefit of the doubt, and I'll go, God damn it, Nintendo! But then I'll still spend $400 on a Switch on day one.
They're like they're the great grandparents of the console revolution.
I mean, as much as I'm like, oh, why the new 2DS? Stupid. If they come out with like a better
4DS.
yeah, and I would buy it as long as like the games that have been coming out for it, like all these really good RPGs are coming out for this handheld console.
Yep.
Came out
It's
for
3D and it produces scents and smells
yeah,
while
there
you
we
play.
go. And you can 3D.
It's like
print stuff.
WarioWare.
So when Link smashes a pot, it smells like broken clay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Someday.
It
It's
will
gonna
be
have to
someday.
because the graphics are only gonna get so good. And even then, I don't give a shit about graphics.
Professor
Yeah.
Farnsworth and his
Hey, I still
The
play,
smelloscope.
smelloscope.
I still play I loved I Am Setsuna, which I mean I think it could have been a little bit better, but it was just a RPG that Square Enix had a new studio make. and it was,
Squeenix?
2D style, so graphics, whatever.
I liked them better when they were called Squaresoft.
Yeah, but that was what I was gonna say. Your other point where you were like, "Oh, I'll blindly follow Nintendo." That's how I am with Square Enix. Like Final Fantasy 15, I hated Final Fantasy 13, but I bought Final Fantasy 15 day one when it came out. I will buy mostly whatever. I was one of the people that bought Unlimited Saga on day one, and that game is awful. That was the first game they released when they merged with Enix, so when they became Square Enix, and it was like that. I played that game for an hour and then traded it back in instantly the same day.
So Ryan mentioned it earlier, really briefly. He didn't catch it. He mentioned
The noobs.
The noobs.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't have all the time to talk about it,
We're only at an hour and a half.
Ryan does a bunch of work. Is it officially 3 Pro Noobs now? Is it 2 plus?
No, it's now officially this year. It's 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, rebranding.
Yeah. We we don't do I mean we record Let's Plays. I guess that's a bunch of work, but we're trying to do other stuff. Yeah.
I see a variety of stuff come out.
Yeah.
You do the movie clip
Yeah.
sections, and then you do some Let's Plays.
Yep.
And then sometimes Zach will do collecting
Yep.
pickups. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's some cool stuff to look at. If you're really into video games, and if our comic book talk hasn't turned you off, and you're into the video game stuff, check out what Ryan and Zach and
Summers.
Is that just what you call him on the?
Yeah, this is his last name.
In Summers.
And they call me Vella, but it's youtube.com/getting your nerd on. There you go. There's the plug.
If you recall, we had Getting Your Nerd on twice in the past.
Yep. That was with when Kyla was still there.
Yeah.
She's moved on. I taken her place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like we said, rebranding,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just do a bunch of stuff. We have some stuff we want to do in the works, but we just don't get around to it because we all work. And
Heard that.
I like how you guys are fairly organized. Like, we might seem organized, but there's times we're like, we have it on next week. I don't know, I'll figure something out.
Right.
But like, you guys will organize like what's currently happening.
Right.
So like, you were doing a full run of Fast and the Furious movies and like watch, that's part of your month's content.
Yep.
When the new movie came out, and then you did a bunch of Power Rangers games when the new movie for Power Ranger came out, and you're reviewing stuff on that. And now, I just saw a Let's Play of X-Men Legends went up.
Yeah,
and I was like, yes, that's a great game.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah,
it's one of my favorite games in the past. It's just great.
Oh, it's so good. Comic books.
Yay! And what was? Because are you guys doing a superheroes month or summer?
So what we do is with our Let's Plays and some of the other content, like not all of it, but definitely like the Let's Plays and maybe in some other stuff, we do a themed. We started because instead of just playing we started out with just playing arcade games. We were just playing whatever arcade games, but now we played all of them. So or not all of them, but we played a lot of the ones.
Yeah.
So we do themed months now. So every month we do a new theme. Like this past April was Superhero Month.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, and there's going to be a quick fix of that when I edit it. And
which I own on Blu-ray.
Next month is going to be food mascot game month, which surprisingly you wouldn't think, but there are a lot.
I know there's probably a bunch.
There's like Yo Noid from back in the day, Nintendo from Domino's, Cool Spot from 7-Up. Like Spot has his own game. Chester Cheetah, Sour Patch Kids, the Burger King games they released for that little while.
Oh, I'm remembering so much of this that I forgot intentionally.
So they're all. So we're gonna play those.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's what advertising used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
At some point, Ryan mentioned Justice League Heroes game, and
we played that in Superman Month.
And I went on about how much that was a bad game.
They tried to do X-Men Legends and did not.
Because X-Men Legends comes out, and then X-Men Legends 2, and then Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And so by the time Ultimate Alliance came out, they had 3 games in 8 years to perfect this format and this formula and this storytelling. And it was great all the way through. Legends 1 was great, Legends 2 was great, Ultimate Alliance I thought was great, Ultimate Alliance 2, they kind of dropped, but Justice League Heroes comes out around the same time as Ultimate Alliance does, and it's not even as good as Legends 1.
Yeah, it was bad. It was that game was hard to get through.
Yeah, not like it was difficult. It was just a struggle.
Yes, yeah. Well, no, it was difficult too. The boss battles, what the, yeah, and then it's clunky. No, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, you did a video on it or something.
Yeah, we played it. So go back and watch those.
Yeah. So we like sharing.
Yeah.
Getting our note on 3 Pro Noobs.
Yeah.
Go look at the stuff on the YouTube.
We'll have to do a reverse collab and have you guys do some Let's Plays.
I don't know if the world's ready for that.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun, maybe.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, got some ideas.
Oh, he's thinking. Let's move on before he gets too many ideas.
Yeah. Yep. Villa, thank you so much for giving us your afternoon.
No,
that was super rad.
Yeah, this is awesome.
You are a true gentleman, and
thanks. So are you guys.
Yeah, you are.
He's a true villain, though.
He is.
I am a villain.
Yeah. He has the license plate to prove it.
It's true.
I just want to say I'm really glad that I was on this episode because I got to hear nerd voice and your business guy voice. What was the other voice you were doing earlier? The reporter, sports guy.
The sport.
I'm a sports guy reporter, and
we sportsed and
we sportsed them real good.
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost at least one listener when I do nerd voice. So.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame him?
I can't. I did it for my niece too, and she hated it because she was doing a version of Geeky Voice, which sounds like Mr. Plinkett,
nice.
from Plinkett's Reviews. So, yeah. Anyway,
we should probably end.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a great way to. I mean, hey, New York Comic Con tickets just went on sale today.
Ooh.
Did you get yours, listeners?
We'll be
see
there.
you there.
We'll be there Friday.
Yeah, go see them at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, at our booth table panel.
We'll be there Friday.
And say hi.
Well, we're stuck in a passageway.
Be what, 4th year in a row, just hanging out on Friday,
Nice.
and then bailing.
All right.
Because Saturday. Anyways, that was fun, Vella. Thanks again.
Thank
Super
you.
fun times. Let's talk about comics again some other time.
Okay.
So until next week, which is the Steampunk World's Fair,
Oh, you guys are going to that, huh?
we are going to that. Yep. Going heading down on Friday morning.
So I can throw a party, right?
Yeah, just throw a rager.
At least 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Unless everyone like midday, I guess. Yeah.
So we'll have one more before then, probably to hype it up, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways, until then, I have been the JR.
I'm Alex. And I am Ryan. Make sure your opinions are varied.
So
Nice.
that never happens on the show. And this has been episode 267 of Opinions May Vary. It's the name of the show.